Guys, we're going a little bit late today. I usually don't upload this late in the day, but there was some stuff that happened earlier today with the Brooks injury and the schedule flexing that I had to talk about. But let's knock out Snap Count Monday nevertheless, because this was actually pretty good. I kind of like what we did this week, and I definitely want to spend some time talking about it because there were some very encouraging signs to me. So we definitely got to go through it. I don't want to forget about this one today, but yeah, there's other stuff going on with the Seahawks right now that are a little more important than going over snap count data, understandably. But nevertheless, let's dive in here. So, 72 snaps on offense, which means we have set a season high in offensive snaps outside of last week against Kansas City. And unlike the Kansas City game, this was actually good, right? Like the Kansas City game, we were on the field all day, but we never scored. In this game, we actually had drives going. We had productive plays. We were able to chunk the ball down the field. We were able to convert on third down. We were able to put up points. 23 points, should have been 26, missed a field goal. That's winning football against a really elite Jets defense that had their back against the wall. So, really good game by the offense. And let's see how it broke out. Running backs. This was really good. I really like this. Only 41 snaps for K9. You don't need that much more than that, especially when he's playing injured. But honestly, even when he's healthy, why do you need to give him that much more than 40, 45 snaps a game? So this is nice. I like this. I don't like the fact that he's playing injured, but I like the fact that we kept the load light. DJ Dallas got 27 snaps and played really well. So obviously part of the equation is you need somebody like a DJ Dallas to play really well. But the bottom line is this. K9 is going to be a very important part of this team next year, the year after, probably years after that, at least a couple. So you need to protect the goods. And I'd say overall this year you did a pretty good job of that. He's going to end up playing probably around 560 snaps on the year, barely more than half of your total number of snaps on the season. But you got to continue to keep that in mind going forward. So good splits by the running backs. Obviously, DJ made it easier by playing such a good game, but it's still something you have to do even if you don't have a guy who's having a... He almost had 100 yards, did DJ. Godwin Ikwebuki had 4 snaps as a garbage time running back, had a few yards. Nick Ballore had 2 snaps as a back, and that was it. There was no Homer, there was no Tony Jones. That was it for the running backs. I'm going to call this a very successful split of the running back snaps. Wide receiver, and this is a great reflection of what I'm saying when Waldron did a masterful job yesterday. The only receiver he got a full allotment of snaps out of was DK Metcalf. And DK Metcalf did nothing. DK Metcalf had 1 catch for 3 yards. He had a drop. He was missed a couple times. He struggled to get open. He was double covered a lot. Lockett only played 23 snaps, which is even fewer than I thought. He was very much a minor factor in that game. You could tell the injuries were bugging him at least a little bit. He got hurt again in the game. Derek Young ended up playing more snaps, as did Cade Johnson, but neither guy played more than 30. 27 for Derek. He was a good blocker out there, did his thing. Cade Johnson, 26 snaps, didn't really do much. Treadwell actually made a couple plays out there. He had a nice game, 39 snaps. So, piecing together a productive offense around this much carnage at receiver, where you've got like 35 to 40% of a game from Lockett. You've got nothing from Goodwin, who's been so good for you. Penny Hart's inactive. And you have to piece it together with these rookies and second-year players who have barely played before, and first-round busts like Laquan Treadwell, and still finding a way to put up points is just awesome. So, really good splits from the receivers. Tight end, interesting stuff here. Colby Parkinson played most of the game, a vast majority of the game with Disley out, which tells you that we trust him not only as a pass catcher, and he did have a career game catching the ball, but also as a blocker. So Colby Parkinson has come a long way, because coming out of college, I remember very clearly he was not considered a blocker. He was considered to be very much a pass catcher only, and mostly a high point guy. So Colby Parkinson, really good game, and you can see his development as a player, which I think a lot of people were worried about because he had gotten hurt those first 2 years and it had killed his development and progression as a player. Noah Fant had 45 snaps, so he continues to basically do what he does. He had a pretty good game. Mabry had the 3 snaps, so he barely played, but he did get out there long enough to catch a touchdown, which was cool. So good for Tyler Mabry. And we'll see if he plays again next week. And then you got the offensive line. A little bit of an interesting wrinkle here. We got a full allotment of snaps from Cross, Damian Lewis, Austin Blythe, and Stone Forsythe at right tackle. And Forsythe didn't play terribly. I'm interested to see what PFF says, but Forsythe actually managed to put together a decent game, playing the whole game out of position. Gabe Jackson got hurt. Gabe Jackson came out for Phil Haynes. Phil Haynes got hurt, didn't play the whole game. 49-23, and Jake Curhan had 6 as a swing. I'm going to continue to say what I've said for a while now. I like Jake Curhan more as a right tackle than I do Stone Forsythe, but it didn't work too badly today. And to a certain extent, we saw what Jake Curhan can do last year. Maybe we just think it's time to see what Stone Forsythe can do this year, even though he's playing out of position. So, whatever. Okay, defense. Let's take a look at the snap counts on the defense. It was pretty good again. We saw some encouraging things, particularly in a game where we actually faced 70 offensive snaps, so the defense was on the field plenty. Way more than they were the last week. No defensive lineman had more than 36 snaps. Shelby Harris. Poona Ford, 33. Al Woods only played 19. So some people were saying, oh, this game proved how important Al Woods was because he was back and we were so much better. He didn't play that much, and we were still much better. Quinn Jefferson had a nice impact at 29 snaps. You got 20 out of Adams and Collier, which, I mean, neither guy did much of anything positive, but I think that being able to keep their load light at the very least is very helpful. And you can see the rotation when you've got 6 defensive linemen, even though probably half of them are not good football players, you find a way to make it work. And we did. Nobody played more than 36 snaps, which is really, really good. I like that. All right. The edge rushers, also exciting developments here. Bruce Irvin has basically been placed on ice. 11 snaps, which in a game where you play 70 snaps is insignificant. 11 snaps. May as well have been Onu Giogu in this game. May as well have been Daryl Johnson or Christian Jones. A afterthought. Why? Because Nwosu played too many snaps like he always does, but Darrell Taylor played 43. He has not played that many since week 5. And it's nearly double, if not triple, what he's been playing in some of his previous games. Big development there, and Taylor responded with the best game of his career. Boye Mafe also saw a slight increase in his snap count up to 26. That's up to where it was during our win streak, and even a little bit after the win streak, he was playing about that many snaps. Very encouraging development to me. Even though Mafe didn't play a huge game or anything, I thought he played fine, and I'm encouraged by him getting a little more playing time. So Bruce Irvin is a guy who's going to retire at the end of the year almost certainly. Whatever he gets at this point is whatever. So seeing Darrell Taylor get the most snaps he's played since week 5 and respond with the best game of his career is far more important to me. So hopefully Taylor can find a way to continue his development. Now, Nwosu is playing too much, but we're almost at the end of the season. That's kind of a lost cause. Like, that is what it is. He plays about that many snaps pretty much every week, unless the defense is doing a good job staying off the field, like, say, last week against KC. All right, inside linebacker, obviously some shakeups here. Jordan Brooks only got the 26 snaps, and then he got hurt. Tanner Muse came in and played 20 snaps, and Cody Barton played 62. So you can see we didn't have the linebackers on the field as much because the Jets were playing from behind probably and had to go 3 wide and a little 4 wide. They had to pass the ball. So we were able to force them to not use their running game. So that was an encouraging development. That indicates how playing from ahead is important for this team. When this team plays from ahead, they have a chance. They can do some positive things because they can get their linebackers off the field, get their defensive backs out there, not worry as much about stopping the run. I think you saw a big chunk of that in this game. But Tanner Muse, by the way, played an excellent game in 20 snaps. We'll see what he does next week. But this was pretty good. Cornerback, same as always. Woolen played every snap. Jackson played every snap. Kobe played 44 snaps, so he played a majority of the game, which was a uptick from where he's been recently, which I really like. I think that the more he's on the field, the better this defense is. Even though Kobe himself is not having an amazing year, I think the impact he has on this defense is significant. So I like it when he's on the field more than he's not. Ryan Neal was injured, did not play, which meant we had a little bit of a rotation going at safety. Or, well, not a rotation, but we had a little bit of a rotation going on in the defensive backfield, rather. That should be the right way to put it. Diggs played every snap, as did Abram, and I thought Abram played okay. Not bad for given the fact that he just got here, and it's his first full game as a Seahawk. Tease Tabor actually played about half the game as like a third safety, third or extra defensive back, or however you want to put it. Seemed to play okay as well, 33 snaps for him. And yeah, you put that all together, and that's the way this defense can squeeze a little more value out. Get the linebackers off the field, get the defensive backs on, and things just go a little bit better. So that's the key. Unfortunately, there's no fixing this defensive line into an elite defensive line right now. But they can get better play from those guys if they force teams into pass situations, which is what we did against the Jets. And that's it for Snap Count Monday. We've got one more of these this year. As you can see, we're definitely going to have more defensive snaps than offensive snaps on the season, even if our defense literally never touched the field on Sunday against the Rams. It's unlikely that we would be able to have more offensive than defensive snaps. So that's unfortunate, but we did make some strides in the right direction at the end of the season at least. And there is some stuff that I really like here. The rotation at running back ended up working out pretty well, I think. In the long run, wide receiver, you can see that no one wide receiver had a massive load on their shoulders. The tight end rotation was great. There was some encouraging stuff here. So, yeah, I'm liking it. See you guys later. Go Hawks.